Here we go. Going into this best-of-7 final for the IPL4 qualifier at Insomnia 44 in the Telford International Centre. It's my pleasure to introduce to you your first contestant. Hailing all the way from South Korea, from Team Complexity, MVP. Coming up from the loser's bracket, having been knocked down and then fighting all his way through. Indeed, getting revenge on the very man that put him there in the first place. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Complexity MVP Tails! He's playing in the orange trunks, of course, to the southwest as Protoss versus his opponent. What a terrifying player we have seen today. His nickname is the Wrecking Ball. You can see absolutely why that is. He calls himself the Pink Power Ranger. Both are equally intimidating to anyone that has seen his play. Hailing from Team Millennium, their current star at this point in time. Ladies and gentlemen, coming in for the winner's bracket, Millennium Stephano.
And what a disguise that is. The Pink Power Ranger was always the worst as well, so that is a sick disguise Stephano has. And the thing is, are we going to see Stephano in another grand final, beating another Korean, obviously IPL3, smashing down Lucky, ESWC beating Marine King Prime? Is he going to be able to beat MVP Tails here once again, or will Tails be able to get into the rhythm, get into that momentum? If he can take that first map on Shakir's Plateau right here as we're seeing, then he can really get into that stride of things. And so far we are seeing the pylon on the higher ground here, surprisingly not wanting to put it on the lower ground. Over here though, with Stephano, pretty standard spawning pool going down, will want to get that hatchery up pretty fast here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stephano will, of course, try and hatch after that, and he can do so. There's nothing preventing him from doing that at all. In fact, we can see that Tails has not sent out a scout just yet in any way. Playing incredibly close to his chest right now. A solid wall-off already being created. Almost like he, I wouldn't say scared, but he is cautious around Stephano.
Yeah, and I wonder what he's going to try and do with this. Is he going to spend a Chrono Boost onto the gateway? It doesn't look like he is. Overall, you can go for a one gateway expand rather easy on this map because of how easy it is to actually wall off here. And I mean, going for a Zealot, first of all, and actually seeing a second Zealot in the making here, we're all going to see a little bit of pressure here. Two Zealots. I wonder if he's going to go with both of them. Tails is a player that will sit with two Zealots as well onto the natural. We'll have to see what he does decide to do. Also using that gas and not getting a second gas yet. So he has got a lot of gas building up right now.
Yes, he does. And it's interesting to see what is he going to do with it. He doesn't want to just hang on to it. That's not going to be of any use to anybody. Stephano almost with his hatchery complete at this point. There's the inject going on straight away. We don't expect Stephano to miss injects. That is very, very rare. It happens even in the middle of combat. He still does it. And it's crucial in order to play Zerg to the highest possible level. And he is now mining gas. He's quite late on that. He didn't really need the speed anyway. A style that Zerg are starting to adopt, realizing that oh my.
Very nice there from Tails, actually. Little back and forth. Does pull the probe down eventually to get that Nexus down. So it is one gate into a Nexus here. The gas saved for the sentry after those two Zealots down. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see more gateways being added on a second and third. And then wanting to take the gas in the back of his base relatively fast here. Had to cut pro production a little bit to make sure these do get up. And Stephano actually throwing down a spine crawler here. Not really knowing what was going on, but does actually move an Overlord into position on the natural now to see that. And he already knows. I wouldn't be surprised. You can actually go ahead and cancel the spine crawl, to be honest. You don't necessarily need it right now. But at the same time, one gateway expand usually involves a bit of pressure from the Protoss player to begin with. That's why, obviously, he hasn't gone for this force expand, because he has that opportunity to do so.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And a couple of lanes just moving out. They may be able to capture the probe. No, it's going in the right position, and his Tails can just hide it there, but it will be spotted there by the Overlord, and perhaps those Lings will want to turn around and deal with it, as they do. And the little bit of pressure early on didn't really do an awful lot. Always nice to at least try to get a bit of a run by, but obviously, Tails playing very, very defensively, doesn't want to let anything into his base whatsoever.
And he's warping in a lot of units right now, and he's not really missing a beat with these units either. And the unit count is getting high. He's chrono boosting into the gateways as well. So what are we going to see here? And we have got a pylon placed down, and let me have a look in Stephano's vision. He does not see that pylon. So I feel we're going to have a bit of pressure coming out right now, which may catch Stephano off guard. And here the units do move out, and the Xelnoga towers are in range for Stephano. Stephano, so he is going to see this coming. Speed is about to finish as well, but right now he does not have any units out or even in the making.
Yeah, he doesn't, which is incredibly interesting considering the number of units that are coming in. He's still droning behind this, which is, I wouldn't say suicidal, but it's certainly incredibly dangerous. He doesn't know about that pylon, which is perhaps what's really affecting him. He's suddenly going to find 3 more zealots. What is Stephano going to fight this with?
I don't know what Stephano's doing. He's obviously waiting for some roaches, of course, but he should be building some links. Obviously, Link's not going to be fantastic against all these sentries and zealots, but he is waiting for it, and he's going to be able to force field the ramp, and Stephano is going to be in a lot of trouble here. We might actually see Stephano drop the first game here.
It's really, really unusual. Stephano obviously was waiting for the roaches there, but really just not building any units whatsoever is incredibly risky. There are enough force fields there to prevent those coming in almost indefinitely, and a couple of zealots warped in to snipe off the third right there by Complexity MVP Tails. Stephano falling to pieces in this first game.
And their roaches do pop immediately. Actually, only Links actually do pop from this hatchery. The roaches are all stuck in the main. He needs to keep force fielding that ramp. If he can get the third, and the third is going to go down. More importantly, if he can get the natural, force field, and run away from it at the same time, that's going to be amazing. He needs to start returning very, very shortly here. And he's got to be careful because as soon as this force field runs out, he's actually going to have to face all these roaches and lings that are more in production and on their way.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that he's still hanging around, honestly. He was able to, he's actually, I think, trying to kill the roach warren before he leaves. Will he have the energy? Yeah, he does. He does have one more force field. That's it, and
he's
down
going to
it
have
goes.
Another one in a couple of seconds, but he has to leave now. And Stephano is hold positioning with his drones. He's not letting this guy leave.
That would actually be the best thing in the world. William in himself. Oh my God, Stephano. He's able to get past the block, and the drones come in from the back, floating to all of those units thanks to the mineral trick. And the roaches, actually, there are enough, I think, to actually break this, which is ridiculous. Let's not forget that both expansions have been lost, and a significant drone count has been taken out. But the fact that Stephano actually threw that back and walled off at the back was fantastic.
Yeah, he's actually in a horrible position still.
Yeah, he is.
Simply because losing the third and natural. And there we go. Basically got a sentry here. He should probably warp in a second sentry as well, just to be careful and to be sure that he's not going to lose this area. He's going to build a cannon as well. 2 more gateways have been added on, totaling up to 5. He's got so much chrono boost, surprisingly. Tails is not using the chrono boost whatsoever. 100 and a second 100. There he is, finally getting rid of it. That's so much chrono boost, and even more, 2 more gateways have been thrown down as well. So basically what we're going to see is a very strong follow-up. Blink Stalker with +1 is just going to be able to clean Stephano out, because Stephano has to spend all his time and resources into getting a second up and probably getting a third as well. And I think that this next timing attack, very well executed coming from Tails, is just going to be able to wipe Stephano off the map.
Yeah, Stephano is definitely playing in a quite a cutesy manner with the wall off on the ramp and all that crazy stuff, but let's just not forget that he lost 2 expansions in the process, and that pylon remained hidden the entire time, which is what really enabled that push to be much, much stronger, and it did come in unawares, and of course to snipe the third off there as well. And Tails just continuing down the tech path. Why not add a couple more gateways on there, build a large enough force in order to break Stephano down. And Stephano is continuing to now mine, but he's still very much behind in terms of his work account.
And I think it's a little bit of a mistake here from Tails actually going double forge here. He already has one on the natural. So unless he wants to research up for the shields upgrade as well, which is pretty expensive, he doesn't really have that much gas anyway. That is a bit of a mistake here, but at the same time he can afford to do this mistake. He's so far ahead at this current point in time, and more pylons been added on. He's going to poke around, a little bit more pressure. Basically, he can do whatever he wants to do right now. He can take a third, take a fourth, take a fifth, go attack. There's actually unlimited possibilities for him to do, simply because he's so far ahead in this game right now. You cannot afford. A lot of the time, it's very, very difficult to recover from a third base snipe, but to lose your natural as well as the Roach Warren, that's really difficult to deal with.
If anyone can come back from that, it'll be Stephano, but he is still very much behind in terms of pretty much everything he's got right now. He'd have to have an excellent engagement here in order to turn the tables. If anyone could do it, it will be him. We'll see what happens.
And 2 spine crawlers will help, well, 3 in total now will help out, but at the same time, the amount of units and upgrades are in advantage for for Tails. He's going to be able to clean sweep this first game for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Stephano's going to be able to hold up against that, honestly. The roaches aren't going anywhere. They're in a nasty little pile there right by the spine crawler, and the continued pressure coming in here from Tails is ensuring that Stephano is not able to do anything here whatsoever. There we go, smashing that in. He's not getting out of there alive. Force fields going down left, right, and center. And Stephano continuing to bring in units. He's certainly not giving up yet. Bringing another spine crawler into play as well. And I'd like to say that he has some kind of surprise waiting for Tails, but he really doesn't.
I mean, Stephano is like the king of holding on for somehow. I don't even know how he's still in this game right now, but he manages to do it over and over. Blink is about to finish though, which will obviously be the nail in the coffin. And already the drones are being pulled off once again. He's so good at pulling off drones and then bringing them back to mine. Blink is now finished though, and I'm not even sure Tails realizes he's actually walking Stalker's back. There we go. Blink is finished, and as Stephano sees that, that'll probably knock him out of the game.
Well, he's building pneumaticized carapace, which will definitely save him in this game.
Oh yeah, the overload speed will definitely help out.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see, floating very, very slowly. Suddenly it won't be. It will confuse the Protoss opponent. GG, ladies and gentlemen. First game in our best 7 series. Coming from the losers bracket complexity, MVP Tails takes that first game and starts to draw it.